The alarm clock on the bedside table buzzed, a sharp, incessant sound that cut through the silence of the room. It was 7 past the hour. Minh remained motionless, buried deep beneath the heavy blankets, his face pressed firmly into the mattress. In the doorway, his mother stepped inside, her grip tightening on the doorframe.
She walked to the bed and shook his shoulder, but he only pulled the pillow over his head,
shielding himself from the light streaming through the curtains. "Minh, get up. You are going to be late,"
she called, her voice strained with the same daily frustration. He mumbled a protest, his voice muffled by the down feathers. Just 5 more minutes. He did not stir. Instead, his mother moved to the chair,
Gathered his things, and placed them in order. She packed the bag, checked the pockets, and set the room to rights while he lay still, an anchor of dead weight. She worked with practiced, rhythmic efficiency, ensuring every item was ready, every task completed for him. Minh watched the ceiling, waiting for the path to be cleared, for the world to move him forward, while the clock ticked away the seconds of his own morning. He stayed trapped in the comfort of being handled, a silent, unmoving passenger in his own life. The classroom was loud with the sound of shuffling papers and sliding chairs. When the teacher reached his desk, she did not look away. "Minh, please hand in your homework," she said, her tone flat and expectant.
Minh reached for his bag, pulled it from under the desk, and tipped it forward. Pens, notebooks, and loose sheets of paper clattered onto the floor in a messy pile. He scanned the debris, turning over each notebook.
But the assignment was not there. He looked at the floor, his face heating up as the silence grew around him.
"I forgot to do it," he whispered, the words barely audible against the hum of the room.
He spent the rest of the period staring at his blank desk, avoiding the gaze of the students sitting next to him. When the bell rang for recess, he did not join the scramble for the door. He walked out slowly and found a stone bench near the perimeter of the courtyard. He sat alone, watching his classmates chase each other through the dust. They moved with purpose and energy, laughing as they dodged and pivoted. Minh watched the distance between them and himself grow, feeling the heavy, cold weight of his own helplessness. He was a spectator in a world that demanded he be a participant, and for the first time, the isolation felt like a permanent shadow. Near the rusted school gate, the guard moved with a steady, hypnotic rhythm. His broom struck the pavement, pulled back, and swept again in long, clean arcs. There was no one watching him. There was no supervisor shouting commands. He just worked. Minh walked closer, his hands tucked deep into his pockets, watching the dust vanish under the bristles. He stopped and cleared his throat. "Why do you work so early?" "The school is still empty," Minh asked. The guard stopped his sweeping and leaned on the handle. He tapped the face of his watch with a calloused finger. "I do not wait for the sun to be high to see what needs to be done," the man said. He gestured to a pile of leaves near the wall. "I do not wait for orders to keep this place clean. I know what is required, so I do it." The guard turned back to his task, the broom scraping against the concrete once more. Minh stood still, the weight of the man's words sinking into his chest. He looked at his own hands, then back at the spotless pavement. The realization prickled at his skin like cold air. He had been waiting for the world to move him, while the world had been waiting for him to move himself.
He turned away from the gate, his pace quickening as the internal pressure to change finally began to take hold.
The alarm clock clicked to 6, but Minh was already upright. He did not wait for the familiar sound of his bedroom door opening or his mother's voice calling him. He threw back the blankets, folded them into a sharp, tight square, and walked to the bathroom. His mother appeared in the doorway, stopping mid-step. She stared at him, her eyes wide as she took in the empty, unmade bedless room.
"You are up already?" she asked, her voice filled with disbelief. Minh did not stop to explain.
He buttoned his shirt, checked his bag, and moved with a new, quiet precision. At school, the morning bell had barely settled when he walked to the front of the room. He placed his completed math assignment on the teacher's desk. She looked down at the paper, then back at him, her eyebrows lifting in surprise. She picked up the work, held it high for the entire room to see, and spoke clearly. "Min has made great progress through his own initiative," she announced. The silence of the classroom shattered. The students cheered, their voices rising in a wave of genuine approval. Min stood by the desk, his heart beating against his ribs, finally feeling the surge of a victory he had carved out for himself. The final bell of the term echoed through the halls, but this time, the sound did not signal a release from duty. It marked the completion of a cycle. Min stood on the wooden podium, the polished surface cool beneath his feet. He gripped the edges of the certificate of merit, feeling the weight of the paper, a weight he had earned through his own hands. Behind him, his parents stood, their faces bright and still, no longer hovering, but watching with quiet pride. He looked out over the sea of faces in the auditorium, recognizing the same classmates who had once watched him from the sidelines. He did not look for their approval, he simply stood steady. As the applause died down, he stepped off the stage and moved through the crowd with a measured, deliberate gait. He reached the school gates and paused, placing a hand on the cold iron. The guard was there, sweeping the pavement with the same rhythmic focus from months ago. Min nodded to him, a silent acknowledgement of the lesson learned. He walked out into the street, his stride long and certain. He was no longer a boy waiting for the world to turn. He was moving, step by step, building his own day, his own path, and his own future.